I've got a ton of fight left in me.
That was President Obama in Ohio yesterday. He's apparently going to need that ton of fight if the reaction by his own party to the latest healthcare developments is any clue.
And if you can turn an ounce into a ton, you too could make healthcare deficit neutral. Top Line starts right now.
Hello and welcome to ABCNews.com's Top Line. I'm David Chalian.
And I'm Rick Klein.
Each weekday, here we are bringing you the very latest political headlines, insight, analysis, reporting, everything you need and want to know about politics.
And for the rest of the day, it's twitter.com/thenote. That's where we can provide you more of what you need to know.
Excellent. Kick us off, sir. What is your top line?
Draft day. The long-awaited Finance Committee drafts that Chairman Max Baucus has been putting together with the so-called Gang of Six for months now is finally coming out this afternoon. The only problem with it is that Max Baucus appears to be the only person who definitely likes this thing. David, we heard so much and for so long waiting for a bipartisan bill that would come out, but none of those Republicans who sat down in the committee are on board, and a number of Democrats, including those on the Finance Committee, are saying that they are really not happy with the direction this is going.
Our colleague George Stephanopoulos kind of nailed this, I think, yesterday in a blog post he put up. He said they got the bipartisan bill without any bipartisan cover. So Democrats, of course, are not very happy about that. This is going to be not the final version of this bill. I think the amendment process in the Finance Committee is going to be fascinating to watch. The ACORN offense. Yes, Republicans are starting to score some points on Democrats by yet again going after the community organization ACORN. Rick, this has been a fascinating development. You remember ACORN was a big controversy in the election last fall in 2008, some of their voter registration drives being questioned. But now there's this video out there, conservative journalists sort of doing ambush kind style videos, going in and exposing some serious problems in the ACORN world. And the White House is already reacting. You know, no more funding. The Senate voted. The White House says the census won't be involved with ACORN now. ACORN has become sort of this negative force that Democrats need to disassociate themselves from.
And it's the video that makes this so much more of a story, and Republicans have found something to push on this, and they're able to, on the conservative side, claim another scalp that's pretty important for them in terms of organizing. Carter weighs in. Former President Jimmy Carter recharges the debate over race just a few hours after Congressman Joe Wilson is formally reprimanded on the floor of the House for the comments he made about the president. President Carter says that he believes that a lot of the vitriol that's headed toward President Obama is because he's a black man. And this is the kind of big voice that you look to recharge a debate like this that was simmering down maybe just a tad in the wake of that vote. But President Carter pretty clear. And
of course, being a white Southerner saying that adds a little to it as well. You know, you saw the Republican National Committee Chairman Michael Steele come out with a statement today saying this is, you know, the Democratic Party playing from the bottom of the deck, dismissing it entirely. And you still see the White House not wanting to touch this. Anita Dunn, the communications director, quoted in the Washington Post, kind of standoffish. We've heard Robert Gibbs on that fact. We've not yet heard from the president to weigh in on this moment, but we've seen in the past that race is not something that they really want to delve into.
Certainly.
Also today, Michelle's moment. It does seem that Michelle Obama, the First Lady, is stepping into a more substantive role in the healthcare debate. They're going to have her headline an event at the White House on Friday talking about healthcare reform as it relates to women. No doubt trying to shore up some of those female poll numbers in the healthcare debate. And obviously, the president is sending her over to Copenhagen as an emissary on the Olympics, trying to get Chicago, the 2016 Olympics. But I do think that we're starting to see the First Lady, perhaps now that her kids are back in school into their fall routine, step up again and sort of be a very prominent figure in the administration. And
this Olympics bid, I think, is going to be key. They would love to see this happen in Chicago in 2016 when President Obama has said he'd be winding down his second term.
Unbelievable. It'll be curious to see. One Olympic official said his absence from Copenhagen will be noted. So we'll see. We're going to begin with the healthcare debate. We're joined by Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz. She's part of the Democratic leadership up in the House. She's a Democrat from Florida. Congresswoman, thank you very much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Let's get your reaction to Chairman Baucus over in the Senate on the Finance Committee. This was the fifth committee, 3 in the House, 2 in the Senate, finally coming out. All eyes were on this because this is the one that it seemed like the president was sort of attaching himself to in his speech last week, waiting for, might there be any bipartisan negotiation? Does the Baucus bill basically make the House versions that came out earlier this summer somewhat irrelevant?
Not in the least. You know, we're glad in the House that the Senate has finally joined the debate and produced legislation that we can take a look at and review and go through the normal legislative process. The beauty of our founding fathers and the way they structured the legislative process is that we're a bicameral legislative body. There are two houses which are co-equal, and our legislation, as we move it through and work with our caucus members to fine-tune it, will pass the House, and then the Senate will pass a bill at some point, and we'll have to go through the conference process. We're just pleased that they finally do have a product that we can take a look at.
Congresswoman, are you concerned? Chairman Rangel said yesterday that the president coming out last week has made it even more difficult to get things done in the House because of the limitations. Are you worried that you're going to have to scale back what the House does to try to keep in some of the promises that he put forward as part of his speech last week?
I think we're going to go through the normal legislative process, and there's going to be give and take. We will, I think all of us, all Democratic members, whether you're a senator or a House member, want to get as much significant health care reform as we can, and we support the three pillars that President Obama laid out last week in his speech. Making sure that people who have health insurance now can get stability and security, making sure that we cover every American that does not have health insurance, and dealing with the skyrocketing cost of health care. And those three pillars are important components of each of the bills, whether it's the Senate bill or the House bill.
Have you taken a look yet at some of the reports of what is in the Baucus proposal? And,
yes.
And can you just give us sort of your reaction of does that bill look like health care reform that you want to see passed?
Well, it looks like health care reform that's far better than the current system we have today. But do you have any problems with it? Is there any concern about it? I'm certainly concerned that there's no public option that's part of this legislation, that the requirement, while they required health insurance for individuals, they don't require it for employers to provide coverage. The subsidies, I think, are not going to be enough to ensure that people who are required to pay for insurance have the ability to afford it. So they have a long way to go. But certainly, because they eliminate the pre-existing conditions and the ability of insurance companies to drop you or not cover you for those, getting rid of annual and lifetime caps, those are significant. We've got significant reform in the Senate, but they've got a long way to go, as do we.
Is deficit neutrality an absolute must from your standpoint, from the standpoint of House leaders, that this does not add, as President Obama said, a dime to the deficit?
I think that that's a critical part of the mandate for health care reform, yes. And
you think that's possible, even with the parameters that you're supporting on the House versions of the bill?
I do think it's possible. I think it's September, and we've got a number of months before the end of the year. The president has asked us to put a bill on his desk by the end of the year. I think that we're going to do that. I think we're going to work extremely hard, day in, day out, hammering out the details, getting feedback from all corners of the country and members of every stripe and persuasion, and we're going to come up with significant health care reform that we can send to the president that make sure that we provide stability and security to all those people who have health insurance now, covers everyone, and addresses the skyrocketing cost.
Congresswoman, you mentioned one of the concerns with the Baucus bill, the finance bill that you saw so far, is this idea of the employer mandate perhaps not being strong enough in there or really present in there in some fashion. Do you believe that what you have seen about the Baucus bill thus far, would it unravel sort of the employer-provided health insurance system that so many in the country have come to receive their health care through that system?
Well, that's definitely a concern. I mean, added to that concern is the fact that they tax the sort of wealthiest benefit packages, and you've got some health insurance, quite a bit of health insurance policies in America that during the next couple of years will top the $16,000 and $21,000 mark that exists in their bill that triggers taxation. Those will be passed on to the policyholders and cause their insurance to go up. I think the House approach of financing health care reform is far more appropriate and balanced, and that's the approach that many of us favor. But again, we'll go through the conference process. I think we should sort of downplay the gap that exists between the House and Senate versions right now. The conference process is time tested, and we'll go through it, and I'm confident we'll send a bill to the president.
Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz, Democrat of Florida, thank you very much for being here today. We greatly appreciate it.
Those gaps are not going anywhere.
They're not going anywhere yet. Stay tuned, everyone. More Top Line with Anna Marie Cox in just a moment.